Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to the Marriage Matters Podcast with your hosts, John and Dom, where we discuss all the matters of marriage because we believe that marriage still matters. What's going on, baby?
Not a lot. I'm here with you.
Here with me here with you.
You know, living the dream.
Living the dream.
That's it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Man, we're back in the studio.
I love it.
Back at it again. Another Wednesday.
Yeah.
We are excited about what God is doing through this podcast.
Yes. Yeah.
And just what's up, world? What's up, people? What's up, Marriage Matters fam?
They out there.
They out there.
Yeah. And we appreciate y'all.
Yeah. We appreciate you guys. Before we dive in, man, like if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. Share. Remember, sharing is caring. Cash App is up. If you want to sow a seed, man, we receive it right now. Yeah, man. But we are excited about this episode. We got some guests back in the building again.
Yes, I love that. I love having guests in the building.
Yeah.
I love the opportunity to connect and grow and hear about other people's journey as it pertains to marriage.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm loving it. Yeah.
Yeah. So we have an amazing couple here with us, man, that we are super proud of. They're doing some amazing things. God has just been moving in their lives. And so we are excited to have them on. And so today's episode, we're going to be talking about life after loss. Right. And so life after the loss of a child in form of miscarriage or stillbirth.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And so our goal with this episode is to bring hope.
Absolutely.
Bring hope, bring healing, right, to that couple that is dealing with those things that I aforementioned as far as miscarriages and stillbirth, right?
And so a lot of couples experience that, and I don't see that as something that's talked about and discussed to the level of degree that it should be. And so definitely I believe that this episode is going to definitely create an opportunity for that to happen, you know, and to bring that because it is happening, but we're not talking about it.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, you know, here on the Marriage Matters podcast, man, we discuss all the matters of marriage.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
You know, we don't want to leave anything unturned, man, because like at the end of the day, we can only imagine, you know, what this can do to a marriage.
Yes. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So listen, let's dive right into it, man. So we have our guests here in the studio. So Landon, bring them on. Let's introduce our guests. We're just gonna call you what we call you. We call you Tay and Cat. You know what I'm saying? So let's bring on our guests, Tay and Cat Wilson. You know what I'm saying? How y'all doing?
Good.
We are great.
Yeah,
We're great.
Yeah,
Great.
man. So thank y'all so much for being here with us. Thank you so much for being willing to share your story, share your testimony, man. Like, that's real big. And so we thank y'all so much in advance for being here with us. So, introduce yourselves to the people. Let the people know who you are, where you're from. Let them know about your mom and them and everything, so they can feel like they know you, right?
Let me go first.
Go ahead.
I'll go first. I'm Ja'Quile, aka Cat.
Yeah.
I'm from Wilmer.
Stand up, Wilma.
Wilma
I'm from
on
the
the
country.
map.
We have been married for almost 5 years, November 23rd.
Come on.
He just couldn't live without me, so here we are.
Okay.
We have 2 amazing kids, 3 total, but 2 living. I am a nurse. Shout out to my husband for allowing me helping me to become a nurse.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. You go.
Okay. Well, I am Teilian Ja'Quile Wilson. I was born in Montgomery. I am from Gulfport, and I'm in Mobile now.
Okay.
Okay.
Of course, you already say we have 2 amazing kids.
Yeah.
I am an operations supervisor, and just for McDonald's, and I operate 3 stores. I operate 3 stores, but I also do hiring, HR work, just the whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
So I do all of that. Education wise, I've got a doctorate in executive leadership
Come on, put some respect on
She
that
said
man's
it's
name.
Dr. Tater, y'all.
Dr. Tay, right?
Tailian.
So I got a lot of education, but yes, like she said, we've been married for 5 years, and it's I think we've experienced highs and lows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I say highs and lows, I mean like we've experienced the greatest and some of the worst parts, which is part of today.
Yeah.
So, but all in all, I'm happy.
Yeah.
You know, we're doing good.
That's what's up.
good.
That's what's up.
That's
That's what's
good.
up. So, Kat, you mentioned whenever you were giving your intro, right? You said 2 amazing kids living. Well, you said 3 kids, 2 living and 1 not, right?
Right.
And so that's what we're here to, to talk about. All right. And so here recently, you guys experienced a stillbirth, and back in 2020. You guys experienced a miscarriage, right?
Yes.
And so let's talk about this most recent incident. So just like bring us up to speed, give us the story. You start wherever you want to start at, but let's talk about this last incident as far as the stillbirth, and let's dive right into it.
Okay, so Tuesday, this week of the week, I went to the doctor. Got a pelvic exam. He did the Doppler with the heart rate. I mean, got the heartbeat. Heard the heartbeat, and he gave me my induction date, which was August the 10th. I was gonna get induced. So I went to work. That was Tuesday. I went to work Wednesday and Thursday. I work at South. I'm a nurse. I didn't do anything like lifting on anybody or nothing strenuous. Friday, I woke up. He always used to get up like right after me. Like I got up. I have a Doppler at home. So, I got up going about my day-to-day things. And I just was like, I don't feel him moving. So I got my Doppler. And at this point, on Friday, I made 36 weeks. So I was 36 weeks pregnant. So I got my Doppler, got my little jelly, placing it. And it's not hard to pick up because I'm at this big, big stage or whatever. So I'm, finding I couldn't hear it. So I'm on Pinterest, like, where do I place it? Where to hear it best? And like, well, of course it don't really matter because you're 36 weeks. So there's no particular way to do it. So I'm like, okay, maybe I'm overreacting. So I got my phone. I was going to initially, I always go to like, Oh Baby in Saraland and get an ultrasound. So I scheduled an appointment, and then I'm like, that wasn't until 2. At this time, it's like maybe 10. So I'm like, I don't know if I can wait that long. So I called my doctor. They told me to come to labor and delivery. So my sister-in-law was like, can you watch the kids? He was at work. And I'm like, yeah. I mean, she's like, yeah, I can watch them. So in my mind, I'm thinking I'm just overthinking. I'm thinking that he's just way low. I just can't hear him because I'm always running to the doctor for everything. He can tell you.
Yes, always.
So he happened to text me. I forgot what he texted. And I'm like, hey, I'm on the way to the hospital. I text him. And I'm thinking he was just going to like, let me know what they say. But he beat me there. So, we get there. I'm signing in. They come down and they roll me up to the labor and delivery floor. So we went into the observation room where they have the ultrasound thing. So the nurse, her name was Sheila. I would never forget Sheila. She put the band on me, to pick up the heart rate and see if I'm having contractions or anything. She couldn't find a heartbeat. So I'm like, is this normal? And then I can tell she was like, yeah, sometimes you just have a hard time. But I'm just in my mind, like, I just knew. So she hooked up the ultrasound machine, but my doctor we was waiting on him to come up. It felt like it took him forever, but it probably took him maybe 20 minutes.
Okay.
Because my doctor's office is on campus. So he walked in, I can hear him walking up or whatnot. So he got the ultrasound machine. He, doing the ultrasound, and he looking around. He looking at it, and we looking too, like. And I don't see what I needed to see.
Yeah.
I didn't see before you even said I didn't see what I needed to see. Like, because you can see it before you even.
Yeah.
Right.
So I could just remember how my baby was laying, like he was like lumped over on the thing. He was like, I'm so sorry. And I'm like, what do you mean you're sorry?
Wow.
So in that moment, I'm just like, this got to be a dream. And the song, Too Good to Not Believe, it just started replaying in my head, and I'm just, tears just flowing, because I'm just like, I just don't believe that my baby is like really gone, because y'all, when I tell y'all this was the most uncomplicated pregnancy. I had one high blood pressure the whole time. No bleeding, just nothing. And this is not a baby that we had to work for. He just came.
Yeah.
Even though Jordan was 9 months when we found out, he just came. And so it's like, this baby just came, and then now he's just gone. And it was no why. The doctor was like, the cord is not wrapped around his neck. So at that point, he was like, do you want to labor? Now, I have had 2 previous C-sections. So, and I had just had one with Jordan. So I'm like, no, just cut him out, get him out. Please take him out now. Because he asked me, I said, can you please get him out now? So they prepped me for a C-section. Well, before then, he called my mama. So I said, can you please call her? He called her. And, he got, choked up or whatnot. And she was like, what's wrong? And he told her. And she wanted to speak to me. And I'm just like, I just cannot talk, please. No.
Yeah.
Then he called his mom. She's like, are you sure they don't know? She was like, no, we seen on ultrasound. He's not breathing. He is gone. So she called my sister. My sister came. She left work. Then just our whole family just came within minutes, it seemed like. They put me in a room. I remember going in the bathroom, changing into my gown. And I'm just asking, like, God, why? I just really wanted to die. Like, I felt like I failed him,
Wow.
I felt like it was my job to keep him safe, and I didn't. Even though I was so careful. I was all the things you can even just think of. I was all of that.
Yeah.
So I put my gown on. I got in the bed. Before they cut me or anything, they took a whole lot of blood. She was having a hard time. I'm a hard stick, so she was having a hard time. So she had to get a vein found. They stuck me like 5 times. So they finally got the blood. It clotted off. They had to get some. It was just a whole lot of stuff. Like, and I felt him moving, and I was telling her that, but she was like, "I guess it just happens," because I really literally felt him. And I'm at this point, I'm still thinking that there's hope, even though I saw that,
when he was moving, that's when
I felt that he was
hope.
still,
Yeah.
So I'm just like ready to get him out at this point. So got the C-section. It was 4:39 at this point. I was so sick on the table. They got him out. I heard nothing. They handed him, I think Tay cut the umbilical cord. He did the footprints and all the things. And I'm just looking at this. He was like, well, the cord isn't wrapped. The cord was right next to him. Like, he was like, there was, they don't know what's wrong.
They didn't know anything.
Absolutely
like what it was. Normal.
He was a perfect redhead baby. Like, he had nothing. So they're like, So he did cut the umbilical cord, wrapped him up. Tay gave him to me, and I just felt numb. I couldn't even cry. Like, because I'm like, this really cannot be real. So we got to keep him as long as we wanted. My family came back in the room, and we passed him around, and we kept him as long as we wanted. And I'm just looking like, how I'm gonna tell my kids?
Wow.
So, and that was the hardest part. I had FaceTime couple with the baby. He was like, oh, the baby. And when I told him, he started screaming.
Dramatically crying. Like,
screaming, y'all, on FaceTime.
Yeah.
And so I'm like.
And Kobe's how old?
He's 9.
9.
He's 9.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, he was 9. He'll be 10 this month. And to just hear him screaming, like, it crushed me the most.
Yeah.
Because he ready for the baby to, he didn't know where I went. I just left. I left him at home. I'm just like, I'm thinking, okay, I'm coming right back. Nothing. So
you have 2 children, Kobe and
Jordan.
And how old is
9
Jordan?
and 1.
Okay.
So they're 9 and 1. So, yeah. So when we was, held him and all this kind of stuff. And at the time, I think Pastor V called you. And he was like, talk to me. it's stuff I just would never forget. Like,
Yeah.
because he had him on speaker and he was telling him what happened. So, he was like, put the phone on speaker and he started praying and, we holding the baby and I just really just thought he was going to come back alive. I just really wanted that more than anything in the world. And yeah, we held him. I don't know. We held him. His cheeks started getting red. So I'm like, I don't want him to get hot. I don't want him to start,
Right.
So I was like, we can take him. So we had him, but everybody held him. It was like he was just alive. Like, when you have a baby, you just passing him around and all that. And then Pastor V and Pastor M came up. And so he held him and he was praying and just walking around. And everybody showed up, like our family, our right way family, at the hospital. Mm-hmm. Even though you're only supposed to have a certain amount of kids, they didn't say anything.
Yeah, right. They didn't say anything.
Like, I've never felt so much love in within that moment. Even the moment where I was just breaking, like, I didn't eat. They was like, you have to eat. I couldn't. Because I felt like it was my fault, Yeah. I'm like, I wanted to, maybe if I didn't eat, maybe I'll just die. I really just, in that moment, I just really just wanted to not live. And it was just a bad place.
Yeah. So like, that's a real moment. Like,
yeah, very much.
So I can only imagine for a couple that had just went through that situation, having thoughts of like, I just want to give up.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. Because we're talking this baby is full term.
Right.
Right.
And so everything is done.
Yes.
Like,
5 pounds, 0.08 ounces.
Yes.
Like, that's insane.
And he was beautiful.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
He was a beautiful baby boy.
Yeah. Tay, while from the point that she calls you and you meet her at the hospital that day, walk us through your emotions. What are you experiencing?
So, I text her something about like the account because I'm the one that kind of does the money or whatever. So I text her something and she was like, I'm on the way to the hospital. And I was like, who's at the hospital? That's kind of what my response was. And she was like, I'm going because she's like, I can't find a baby heartbeat. I said, I'm sure he's probably just low or whatever. And I said, he may be turned over. I said, but I'll just meet you there or whatever. So met her there. And then the story kind of just went on as she said. And then for me, I'm looking on the screen, like, because when they put the Doppler there, it's like I heard a heartbeat, but it was her heartbeat. Mm-hmm. And so when I heard that, I was like, I just, in my mind, I'm like, everything all good or whatever. And I remember the look on the nurse's face. She was just kind of like, oh, I don't, I can't find it. She didn't say it, but she was just looking like, right. I can't find it. Like,
yeah,
this may be what's really happening.
Yeah.
And so, because she looked and she's like, well, we'll just wait on the doctor or whatever. Because they had one thing that was hooked up and then they had the ultrasound machine that was kind of off to the side. And so I asked her, I said, hey, what is it? What is it?
Don't be playing me right now.
So, give me something.
She said,
yeah.
She was like, well, she said, I didn't find it, but maybe I'm doing something wrong, And then she said, but we'll wait on the doctor, whatever. And so I asked her, I said, well, what's the telltale sign? At this point, right. I'm just like, hey, y'all got to tell me something. I said, what's the telltale sign that, this baby's not living? She's like, that's going to tell it all. And so he came in and he was kind of looking, we're looking on the same thing, and he's moving here and he's moving there and, just kind of moving all the way around. And he asked her, he said, you had no movement? And she said no. And so he's still looking or whatever. And right in my mind, I knew at that point that this is probably what it was. And then he turned around and he just looked at it. He was like, I'm so sorry. And I'm just like, what do you mean you're so sorry? Like, what, that you can't find it right now? You need a different machine? Like, what? Yeah. What is it? Yeah. And so then it was just kind of like, I kind of lost it then. Yeah. So, and it was like, I didn't know which way to, what to think, because it's never happened to me. Then I'm one that kind of like, I love kids. Like, I love them. At work today, was a girl came in with 3 kids, and she was like, "Oh, you can get them." I said, "You just got to sign your rights over because they ain't coming back." So, and this is kind of how I am with kids. Like, I absolutely love them. They don't give me. So, for me to have my own, it's just kind of like, yes, this is what I want. But that day, it's kind of like it will always play. Kind of replay in the head. And I know it takes time, but it probably would never go away. But and everything else kind of happened. As she said, to
he came back.
Huh?
And the doctor came back that night.
Oh yeah. So because he asked us about doing the autopsy on the baby, whatever, and first we said no, and then I was like, well, I really want to know what happened.
I want to know.
I don't want him to be cut, but I need to know, just kind of to solidify why did this happen. So we was like, okay, yeah, just do the autopsy or whatever. Then he came back that night and he said, I think I found out what happened. He told her, you have 6% of the baby's blood, which meant that
my blood was 6%. So I got 94% of my brother's blood and 6.4% of fetal blood, which means all his blood bled out.
He bled out.
He bled out.
Yes.
He was really pale.
Really, really pale.
Like pale as ever.
Wow.
And so we got that without having to do an autopsy. He came in because he was like, well, let's just go ahead and do it. But he came in and he was like, I found out what happened. And then he told me that. I'm just like.
So is that a particular diagnosis? Is it a particular?
No. It's called a fetal maternal hemorrhage.
Okay.
Now, it's usually caused from trauma, like a car accident.
Like you have to, if you hit something really hard or something like a
hit your belly or
absolute sudden movement or something like that.
It.
Right.
Yeah.
But or it can happen spontaneously.
Okay.
And we were the spontaneous event.
Wow.
That happened.
So, all right. Now, where are you once you get that information, knowing how it's caused? Because you said that you were super careful. Like, you know what I'm saying? Hug me from the side kind of situation.
Don't
right?
hug me too tight.
Right. You know what I'm saying?
Literally.
And so, like, now that you get that that response from the doctor, I'm sure you were asking questions, doing some research, and you see what causes it. And so now, where's your head at knowing that now?
I'm like, what could have happened?
Yeah.
Because he said it can happen within minutes. Like he gave me the illustration of when you hook up medicine to an IV and the fluids just go in. He said it can happen within seconds. Like I'm just like, but how? I'm still questioning, even though you told me how, it don't make sense in my mind because I know I didn't do anything traumatic. Maybe plug my computer in at the hospital, but I know I didn't do anything.
Yeah.
And I went to thinking about like, well, we have a little toddler and she jumped, but no, I would have known that it would have hurt it, something like that. That still wasn't good enough for me.
Yeah.
And that's why I've been for 7 months. I don't know. I've researched, I've looked at forums, discussion boards of moms who went through this. And some of them, they caught it in time, but they, had very detrimental side effects, like, just damage like autistic,
Down
all of
syndrome,
that,
all
Down
that kind of
syndrome.
stuff.
Okay.
Wow.
And all of that. So it's like, it still isn't good enough for me. And maybe I would never know why. But a part of me, I have to tell y'all like maybe my why. Like I don't know if you remember when I was pregnant, I was over in serving in New Gen and Pastor V had called for me. And he told me that God was going to use me to minister to women who've had miscarriages or having trouble having babies.
Yeah.
Which I'm from both sides because I have PCOS, so it was a struggle for me to get pregnant on my own. So, and then looking back then, it's like maybe he was a sacrifice to help. I don't know, because people are reluctant to talk about their infertility problems. I'm such an open book. I love to help people. I wish I had that for myself.
Yeah.
But everything I learned, I read or got from my doctor. So I just felt that was like an open door, for people to reach out or to, and it has been. Yeah. Not that I want it, some things you just don't want, which I don't want that. But if I can help somebody, I would love to. But yeah, I thought of that as like maybe just like he was just using me to help people.
Yeah.
It sucks.
Yeah.
It hurts worse than anything,
Wow.
that you can imagine.
That's all that I could really just think of.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. So going through this situation, and definitely after hearing what the doctor said, did you guys ever get to a place of like blame?
Oh, absolutely.
Like blaming either yourself or each other. Like, let's talk about that for a moment.
I blame myself because she was just I think she was just getting out of school, and she hadn't worked the whole time while she was in nursing school, and so everything kind of fell on me. And so we went from 2 incomes to 1 income. Yeah. We didn't have any less bills, but we still had the 1 income from me. Yeah. And so I kind of, I penny pinched off of everything, and it was kind of like, I'm tired, So, and she was ready to go to work because she was kind of. She had got into her field and she was ready to start. And so I'm not going to say that I pushed her, but I encouraged her, hey, just, go ahead and take it or whatever. Because, I mean, at this time, I think she was like 6 months or so. Mm-hmm. And I said, well, you'll be going out again. But, if they offer it, go ahead and take it. It'll help us out. Just kind of, I didn't say no. I'll say it like that. Right. Yeah. I didn't say no. So when that happened, I was like, maybe I pushed her too hard to go back. I say maybe I could have just held on 2 more months, and so it was like I should have just let it go. I could have pulled it from here. I could have sold this. I could have downsized. So I just I kind of just started blaming myself. Like, why did I actually go back to work already? Yeah, because I said if you weren't working, because she was saying something about plugging in the computer. Then I was like, well, if you weren't working, if I didn't ask you to go to work, then you wouldn't have to plug in the compuper. So at the same, I'm like, it's my fault. Wow. So, it's just kind of like, how do you get over, not so much how do you get over it. It was like, I don't even know the words like to make it make sense, so to say, but it was like, I should have just chilled out, kind of, sort of, that's kind of what I felt. And then it was like, why did it have to happen? So that was just kind of my experience when, so I definitely blame myself for the whole time. We'll get into that a little later, but it was just, with the miscarriage, I blame myself for that, so. Okay. And I don't know. I mean, I kind of always take blame for the most part because I feel like, hey, I'm the man of the house. I got to make sure this thing goes. Yeah. It's my job to make sure that they're okay. So when they're not, it's my fault because that's my job, so that's just kind of, that was how I felt.
Well, I mean, we know y'all, right? And so we've kind of seen and kind of walked throughout these journeys with you guys. And man, I want to commend you. Like, you are an amazing man, amazing husband, for you to make those sacrifices. Yeah. So that she could go to school to become a nurse. And, I know how Satan works and how he plays. Mm-hmm. What the kids say,
playing in your face.
Playing in your face.
On your top.
On your top. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? That's what, playing on the top of your face. On the top of your face. And so that's what Satan would do in those moments. But like at the end of the day, man, like, you got to be able to know who you are and know the sacrifices that you made. And like, at the end of the day, you were leading in those moments. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You were leading in those moments when you said, go back to work. And at the end of the day, it's God's responsibility to cover, even if we are out of his timing or out of his will. But I believe your hey, go back to work came from a good place. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And so, man, I just commend you for just in that moment, you making the sacrifice, you taking the blunt of the financial weight so that she could become who she is now. You know what I'm saying? Nurse Cat. You know what I'm saying? And so, like, you mentioned earlier, just so you blame you, right? And so I can imagine you're trying to probably encourage him and you're encouraging her. Mm-hmm. Like, it's like, but at the end of the day, it's like this is now probably weighing on the relationship. And so, how did this loss impact the relationship, be it negative so or positive so? Like, how did it affect the home front?
Okay, so I don't think it was a negative effect because we kind of I mean, of course, we had the blame or whatever, and you know, and I would tell her that, you know, like you said, I would say it's not your fault. She'd say it's not your fault or whatever. But I mean, we began to have more dialogue together. You know, we kind of start talking about things together. You know, planning things. You know, if we were to have another one, we want to do it like this. You know, so it was kind of, you know, it opened that door for more communication.
Yeah,
you know,
that's good.
And transparent, I'm a horrible communicator. It's just, you know.
She said, long
Well,
as you know.
I'm a horrible communicator when it comes to, say, like feelings. Like if I'm feeling a certain way, I'll kind of, because I want what I feel to be backed up with facts. So because, you know, I'm not just gonna go off impulse and be like, well, you're doing this, you didn't do that, all that kind of stuff. Like I'm gonna have the facts, and so sometimes I'll just not say anything, but she'll say something on your mind. You got something to say, you got something you want to say or whatever, and so I kind of just decide whether or not I want to say something. But it opened up the door of communication to kind of where nothing else mattered. You know, nothing else really mattered if it wasn't for like uplifting or building or us coming closer. Nothing else really mattered. So we kind of communicated and we built ourselves to be stronger in that moment, because we had to be stronger. I feel like we had to be stronger because we still got 2 other kids that you know we're raising or whatever. So we still got to be strong for them, you know, and then for others too, you know, because I mean, people look at us. I mean, I'll be at work and people will say, "You're Cat's husband. I love y'all," and I was like, "I don't even know who you are." And so there's some people that kind of follow us, and so we have to be strong to keep that going,
but still allowing ourselves to feel how we feel.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like I still, because I started therapy right away. So I always like me. We will be in the middle of a conversation. I'm just busting out crying because I'm just like, I just cannot. I just can't. And it's just like, you know, it's a huge hole, and you want to go back to normal, but you can't. You can't. You cannot do it. This is our new normal. And God, like, it was just all of the stuff that we had. You know, we had a baby shower. So it's like, it's a constant reminder.
Yeah.
So we still had to feel we feel. And he likes to get busy. Like when he's in his, you know, I guess his emotions. Because he don't never come to me with it. He never say, "Oh, I'm having a bad day." He never say, it's always me going to him. Yeah. But like he said, it's hard to, you know, get him to come out with his feelings.
So you mentioned that you sought therapy.
I did.
Okay. So kind of talk about that. Like what was the pros and cons of that? And
therapy was good because she was giving me a way of how to work through stuff. I come from a family where, you know, if you show how you feel, you being disrespectful. So it's like,
help the people now. Help the people.
I wasn't always reluctant to share my feelings, but I always did, and they got me hit in the mouth or, you know, anything like that. Yeah. So when she was telling me a way to, you know, she said, get out and get some fresh air. My mom came. She had been, you know, she came down. Oh, you're not supposed to be outside. You had a C-section. Oh, you're going to have a setback. All these things. Even when she was the one who took me to the doctor, I said, I asked the doctor, can I go outside? He said, yes, just don't get hot. And so she questioned him like she got a degree. So I, you know, went outside on our porch and I, you know, I just got the house and I thought, and then I went, because his room was upstairs and you're not supposed to be climbing stairs, just all these things. So I finally went up there and I found a sense of peace. Wow. So my therapist, she was just like, you know, write a letter to God. That was the hardest thing in my life. Writing letters to God. And she said, you're allowed to tell God that you're angry at him.
Yes.
Yes. You're allowed to tell God how you feel and what should have happened in that moment. Because I feel like we do everything right. You know what I'm saying? We're good people. We We don't cheat on each other, and we don't do nothing sneaky.
Right.
So it's like, why?
Why us?
Why?
So, but we never know the in between of anything. But that it's just I don't know. It's just hard. I don't know.
Yeah.
But therapy was, I mean, still is because I'm still going in it. She's helped me work through a lot of stuff. She makes me ask myself questions that I wouldn't think to ask myself. Why do I feel the need to be in control of everything? And I had no control of this, and that's why it killed me. So, and I don't have an answer to what happened really.
Yeah.
So it's like, it just bothers, so.
Yeah.
Wow.
So you guys are moving through a lot of spaces, right? You talked about before, the guilt. You talked about how it impacted you all's communication. So now you have to communicate because you have to be here for each other. You talked about your other children and that being the force, or you got to pick this up and we got to keep moving. So did you all feel any pressure to get into this new normal? Rather than just take the time that you've needed to just heal from a significant loss? I
would say I guess I felt the pressure only because and it's just work related. In my particular job, we don't necessarily have where you can take weeks out and still be paid. So I felt the pressure because, now they were gracious and generous, and they paid me for 2 weeks. Kind of, they just used my vacation time to pay it. But I was like, in my mind, I was like, I need to go back to work because I don't want to be feeling like this and then can't pay bills.
Yeah.
So I felt the pressure that, hey, I got to go back to work, and as she said, it's not peace, but how I kind of get it off my mind is when I'm doing stuff, So I wanted to go back to work just so that I can continuously do stuff because I'm not as open as she is when it comes to my feelings. So I bury them as deep as I can bury them. Well, I try to anyway, and I try to suppress as much as I can suppress. And because I didn't seek a therapist at first, just kind of piggyback a little bit on that. I did not seek a therapist at first. I kind of just pushed it aside, but I found myself to a point to where if I don't see somebody, I don't talk to somebody, then I'm going to explode.
Yeah.
And I think I told her that at one point. I was like, I just got to do something because it's beginning to be too much. So, but I went back to work, and that was kind of the pressure. Like, hey, let's just start doing something. And then when I went back to work, it was like, I hate all y'all. That's just kind of how I felt or whatever. I fired 2 people and suspended some others, and then I had to, God checked me and said, they're not the cause or the reason for what happened. So I had to reel back, and it's just kind of like you go through stuff, and then he'll check you in that moment to say, hey, look, it's not their fault, So I had to kind of pull myself from being that angry person, like angry at the world. Right. But that was the pressures that I felt. Yeah. So and then, when I came home, I would come home knowing that we're without child. And so in that, it was just kind of like I almost didn't want to go home, but I knew I had to because that was home. So it was just like, how do we get past that little part? So, for me, those were the pressures that I had.
Right. So you're feeling this pressure. How is the support that you're receiving? Because we're going to give support to Cat. Mm-hmm. She just lost a baby. Mm-hmm. How are you receiving support, or was it adequate now you having gone through that? So as a husband and father.
In the beginning, I would say that, people that came over, yes, they gave her support, and then and it was, and I told her this before, it was just kind of because I'm tied to you was the reason I was included, but it wasn't secluded because of me. It wasn't
directed towards you.
Yeah. So and that and I told her, I was like, I'm whatever. I want you to be okay.
Of course.
I'll deal with me later on. That's just kind of how I dealt with it. Mm-hmm. But as far as the support up front, and I'm an introvert by heart, so I'm not going out talking to people about it. Like I'm not gonna walk up to somebody and say, "Hey, how you doing?" You know, now if you talk to me, I'll talk to you, but I'm just not gonna like I'm not going up to anybody talking to anybody. So it was kind of you know, on my own type deal or whatever. Now, right way they showed up. Of course. Know, they did what they had to do. So I got the support there, but kind of outside of that initial kind of 2 weeks, it was like find a way to deal with it on your own, so to say.
Have you found that resources are as readily available to men and husbands in times like these?
No. I mean, in all transparency, the resources, I mean, they're catered more to the mother. And I guess, I ain't gonna say I guess, but I can see why. Because they kind of are attached to that child.
Of course.
Longer. Well, not longer, but closer, if you will, than the male or whatever. But I tell her all the time, I'm not an absent father.
Yeah.
You know, when you're pregnant, we're pregnant.
Yeah.
Because I feel, you know, with Jordan, I got everything.
Yeah.
Everything. She was just smooth sailing. I'm in there sick and sleep and
so that's really a thing, huh?
like God was going on. So I mean,
you carried Jordan.
Yeah. So I mean, for me, it's like we got some support. We got support, a lot of support for the women, and for the men, it's kind of like, we'll get you when we get you.
So what would you say to the father that is going or that has gone through this same situation, now knowing that that same support is not there? What would you say to that father to encourage him on how to get over or how to get through? Get through. Because I mean, that's the thing. Now, getting over is not always the goal. Sometimes the goal is just, let's get through.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I would say just speak up and talk out about it. I found that talking about it helps a whole lot. Yeah. You know, and just naturally as a man, you know, we kind of suppress feelings. We suppress things because we're the man and we gotta you know, be strong or whatever. But just talking about it, you know, and that helps a whole lot. And then surround yourself with people, not even people that has gone through that, but people that's willing to hear your cry, you know, let you cry and all that kind of stuff. So I would just say, you know, speak up about it, talk out of it. And I'm now learning that, you know, having just started going through therapy, because I mean, I was not going to say anything, but you'll get to the point to where you're about to explode, literally. And, you know, I mean, but yeah, just speak out about it.
Say something.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so how important though is community for this situation? Like, how important is it to have ride or die people like just there? And because I mean, you know, I can imagine you probably go through certain emotions, and one of those moments may be like, I don't want nobody around. You know what I'm saying? And so, but like for you guys, you mentioned that you had support from the ministry. Shout out to Right Way. You had support from family. So like, you know, how important is community going through moments like this?
I would say that it is very, very, very important to have community, because, I mean, going through something alone versus going through something with others. I mean, with others, you have someone to share that burden, and it makes that burden lighter, you know. So we got to have that community, you know, just having somebody that you can call and say, hey, look, I just need to talk to you about this, you know, and they're even not having any words to say to make it okay, but just to get it off your chest, you know, rather than just holding it in. So the community part is like absolutely necessary, you know, and I think it's part of what helps you get through, you know. Right. For me, I don't think I will ever get over, but it's just something that'll help me get through it, you know, because day by day, you know, well, I'm not going to say it gets easier, but, you know, it day by day gets better.
Yeah.
You know, just by having the community, because you can, hey, did you see such and such thing? Did you talk, you know, and they can kind of reel your conversation or steer your conversation in ways that's kind of, okay, I'm glad we had that talk, as opposed to just having thoughts, because as the old folks say, misery love company.
Yeah.
And not that you're so much as miserable, but when you're by yourself, you have so many thoughts and just so many other things that go through your mind. But having someone or even a group of people or teams or whatever it may be to just speak about it, it takes your mind off of that, and so it helps you to get through it.
Yeah. So I want to ask this question. So you guys are believers, right? You saved, sanctified, Holy Ghost filled, and fire baptized, right?
That's right.
Amen.
You've been running for the Lord a long time, and you ain't tired yet. But you guys are believers, and so let's talk about that for a moment.
Yeah.
As a believer, like, let's talk about your faith during that moment. Like, did you question your faith? Was your faith, troubled? Did you question God? Were you angry at God? Like, did you were you at a point where you're like, all right, you know what?
Yeah.
If living right getting me this,
Yeah.
like, let's be real. Let's talk about it for a minute.
I ain't even gonna lie. Transparent. I was like, what God?
What God?
I'm so sorry. I was like, what God?
Yeah.
Wow.
Because you just saw what happened to me, what happened to us, how gut wrenching that was, and how they literally tore us apart.
Yeah.
Like, so it's like, we're faithful in tithing and giving. We're faithful at church. We serve. We do all the things. So I was really angry.
Yeah.
I was questioning whether I really was a child of God, that He will allow this to happen to us.
Wow.
So, I remember, I just started listening to music just because that helped me, and I was listening to music and my song came. It was, give me a second.
No, you good. Take your time.
It was, He Won't Fail, like, even though I'm looking at, like, even though you're going through this, there is something on the other side of this. You just have to get through this. And I really wanted to rush the process to get to that, but you can't do that. Mm-hmm. So I was like, I just wanted to be over with. And in my mind, for it to all be over with, I would just have to kill myself.
Wow.
So when I was, listening to the song, I'm listening to the lyrics, I'm hearing Him, like, talking to me, telling me that I'm worthy of living. This is, this is just a pause. This is just a way to, I guess, to bring me closer. And in that moment, like, that happened, it brought me literally closer. Like, I started being more intentional on, not saying that I already wasn't, but I was more intentional on being a better person.
Yeah.
On being intentional about how I treat people, how I react to certain stuff, just about intentional about giving grace in all of this. So it just helped me intensify my relationship with God.
Wow.
Even when I wanted to just not have anything to do with Him.
Yeah.
So that's where we are. And I don't know if He just used that to, I guess, bring us closer, or to make me, like, realize, hey, I can't do this without you. Because literally without Him, I really wouldn't be here, because I really was supposed to be gone. I had stopped eating. I wasn't sleeping. I did not want to be alone, because I didn't want to allow myself to feel, be vulnerable. I didn't want to. I had this strong Black woman thing, but I couldn't be strong no more. It was literally going to take me out. So faith, at first, it was nothing.
Right.
When it happened, I had nothing. I feel like I was empty. I didn't know what else to do, what else to prove, because you had taken the very thing that, we didn't even have to work for this. So I'm thinking like, this is such a blessing. And then it's ripped from us.
Wow.
So what God would do that is what I was thinking.
What God would do that, right? Like, so, wow. Man, I can imagine, like, you know, I've had moments of disappointment.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I didn't get a job that I wanted, or, you know,
Yeah.
something small and minute
Yeah.
as that. And in those moments, I began to question God or question,
Yeah.
you know, my faith. And for you guys to kind of go through this situation, I can imagine now you saying like, what God? But what was so amazing about your story that you just shared was that's how it started. But it ended up bringing you guys closer, you and God closer.
Yeah.
Because you begin to see that, okay, although I'm in this moment, this sucks, this uncomfortable, I can't get through this without him.
Right.
Like, there's no way I can. There's no way that I can make it to the other side, through this, over this, without him. And so although I'm mad at you, but I need you still to be God right now.
Right. You still have to be my partner.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. So what was your faith walk kind of through this? Like,
Well, I would say it was kind of similar or whatever, you know, still trying to be the man and kind of hold up and say, you know, well, no, we can't question God, you know, this, that, and the third. And it was kind of, well, why? you know, it's just, well, why? You know, and then, you know, so, and I was still trying to serve, but then when I was serving, it was kind of like, why am I serving?
Wow.
You know, so I kind of went through the same thing as far as like questioning like why are we doing this? I mean, it was to the point to where I was like, hey, I'm and I remember pulling up my giving statement and I was like, I gave all this and still don't have a child. You know, and it was just kind of like, you know, why am I doing all of this and I'm not seeing the benefits, you know, and I know what I'm taught. And I know what's truth or whatever, but, you know, when you hit with something that hard, it's kind of like, how can you believe that that's truth when this is reality?
Wow.
You know?
that's so good.
Say that.
So,
That's
I mean,
so
that was
good.
kind of hard for me, you know?
Yeah.
So I kind of just, you know, went through the motions and serving and coming to church and all that kind of stuff, you know? And I may have even fallen off paying my tithes or whatever because it at that point it wasn't important to me.
Right.
You know, it wasn't something that I was intentional about, but you know, I had to get myself to the place where he started speaking to me and telling me that, you know, it won't always be like this. You know, so I just had to kind of move myself to believe that, okay, no, it won't be like this always. And you know, and Jordan, as busy as she is, it's kind of like there is a God because she's here.
Yeah.
You know, and so
Amazing.
that kind of, even when we was in the hospital, I said, bring my babies up here.
Yeah.
I just need to see them. I need to hold them. You know, and so it just when they came, it was I just wanted to hug them or whatever. And it's and just fast forwarding past that, you know, even at home, I would come home. Like I said, I would hate to come home, but then when I came home and I saw them, it was kind of like,
Yeah.
all right, God, I'm gonna do right. You know, I'm working on this as it is. You know, and just seeing them was kind of helped me to solidify my faith because we had faith to have Jordan.
Yeah.
And so that same faith is what's going to get us through.
Come on.
That's
come
so
on,
good.
come
Us
on,
through this.
come
I
on.
told you to preach if
So-
you felt like it.
Right. Grab that mic and preach.
Yeah.
You all right.
Because
you
you
all right.
getting there. That's
He
so
almost,
he
right.
almost.
He almost there now. You know,
Yeah.
you know, let him use you.
Yeah. Man, that's
Wow.
so good.
So just to bring context to the audience, like, so Jordan comes after the miscarriage.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Yes.
Right?
Right.
And so that's that glimpse of hope right there.
Yes.
That's that glimpse of hope that's running around the house. I see pictures of her inside the cabinet and on the computer like she paying bills and, you know what I'm saying, doing taxes and everything. And she's what? She's one.
Two on Friday. She'll
Yes.
be 2 Friday.
Bless your heart. And so like moments of that, being able to see, man, those glimpses of hope is just so amazing.
Yeah.
Right. And so I can imagine how some parents who have kids that go through this situation, they may pull away from the children, right? Because they feel like, okay, they're just reminding me more of the lack that of the one that I lost.
Yeah.
Right. And so how important is it to throw your arms around them? Now, Kobe is 9, so he understood
Right.
the loss.
Yeah.
And so how important is it to make sure that he's good and to make sure that you're not leaving gaps in the relationships with them going through this process as well?
I allow him to feel how he feel. Like, I'm never the parent, hey, you're a boy, don't cry.
Yeah.
That's not how I am. I allow him to feel how he feels. We're a blended family, so while his dad may, feel a way about him crying and, expressing himself, I don't. I let him express himself. So if he has questions, and I hear him on his phone all the time, he'll talk about Collin. He always acknowledge him when he tells about his siblings and all that kind of stuff. Oh, wow. So, if he have questions, I answer them to the best of my ability. But I never let them see me emotional, and that's maybe something I have to work on. But I just don't want them to see me like that. But in a sense, we try to do stuff with them often. It's really important. It's like it's like a thing. Like, we have to do this. We have to this. I don't want them to feel like they're loved any less.
Yeah.
Or nothing. I text him nice messages and stuff like that. Like, I don't think there's nothing that they don't see where they feel any less, from what happened.
That's good.
Yeah,
that's good. That's good.
definitely.
I think one thing that you just said, like, you don't want him to see you amiss or anything like that. I do think, though, it is important. There's a healthy side of emotions that I believe our kids need to see.
Yeah.
Right? Because as a child, you may not know how to deal with your emotions. And so we learn how to navigate feelings and emotions from our parents.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so, like, we bottle things up because they bottle things up. And so if they never see us dealing with those emotions and letting them come out at times in a healthy way, then we leave them up to a chance of not knowing how to deal with it in their adult life. And the Bible says, train up a child in the way that they should go. That's whole life. So train them up in the way that they should deal with their emotions.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And so I do think it's important that parents in these moments that we don't shy away or just cry in the bedroom, away from them. No, let them get a little bit of that so they can know, okay, you know what? So it's not weird that I miss him.
Yeah.
It's not weird that I'm hurting. It's not weird that, I feel how mom feel or I feel how dad feels. And so I think it's really important. Like you said, we don't close off their emotions because I can imagine how you may have some parents who want to get past it and they now tell the kids that's old enough to understand, well, hey, listen, stop crying about that. Like, that's done.
Yeah.
It's over. Like, no.
Yeah.
Like, so like let them kind of have that moment. And so I think that's good.
In particular communities, I'll say, we don't allow ourselves to feel as we should. You know what I mean?
Yes, I agree.
We don't allow emotions.
Yeah.
And so perhaps just as a particular community, we can be the torch bearers in raising and bringing up this next generation and letting them know it's okay.
It's okay.
Right.
It's okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
It doesn't make you weak.
It doesn't make you weak.
It doesn't make you weak.
Yes.
Makes you human.
It makes you right.
Right.
It makes you human, right? And so so have you guys decided to try again? Either like right now or in the future, like let's tell us what's going on. I'm sure y'all be putting in the work for trying. You know what I'm saying?
Kind of hard with a baby in the middle.
Oh man.
I like I said at the beginning, I love kids. So I don't have a number of kids that I don't have a stopping point.
Where
I
you
guess
see
you
me,
will. I'm just saying, I don't have a stopping point. So yes, we do want to try again, and I mean, now I'm always concerned about her health. Okay. So and because she's had C-sections, it's kind of, hey, it ain't all about me, and I am considerate about that, but definitely want to try again, and just keep going. I think we're moving past it, so it's kind of like, well, why just stop there? We still build. He'll just be part of the legacy,
right?
So we'll
that's good.
Keep going with him.
Yeah, I would like more. My only concern is like I am a C-section mom. I've had 3.
Okay.
So my doctor, before I had him, he was like, "You want to get your tube tied? You want to get your tube tied?" I'm like, "No," because I'm thinking about him, and I'm like, "No." He was like, "Well, the risk increases the risk as you have more, so the skin doesn't go back." So I'm like, "No, we'll just." I don't know what we'll do, but no, I don't want to get them tied. But yeah, we would love to have more. I don't want to live in fear. I don't want to do that. I don't want to let that stop me. And then I wrote a post, because I was in my feelings, and I was like reluctant, to share anything good because you have people praying on you, PREY. You have people praying on you, so it's like, what if somebody's prayed that this happened? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like I said maybe we share too much because I'm such an open book. Well, y'all know. I'm like, maybe I should stop sharing. I overshare. So, yeah, that kind of can be brought up. But I told him, I told Tay many times, I just don't want to live in fear. I don't want this to, because that's what the devil wants. He don't want you to share the gospel. He don't want you to share anything good that God has done. But I want to share the good and the bad. I don't want to make it seem like, oh, we got it all together, and we really don't.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And so not want to live in fear when it comes to trying again.
Right.
Right, because I think it's important because I always refer back to the scripture where Job said, "The thing that I have feared the most has come upon me."
Yeah,
and so really, what that scripture is saying in essence is that whatever you are afraid of, that's what you will see, because God is not obligated to cover our fears. So, like, if there's something that you are afraid of, God is like, "I can't touch it." Because it's governed by fear, right? And so, moving forward, trying again cannot be coupled with fear. It has to be housed in complete and total reliance in God's ability, right? To supernaturally, exceed your expectations. And so, like, to that couple that's like afraid to try again, to that couple who's saying like, you know what? I don't know if I can go through that again. I don't know if I can deal with that hurt again. Like, no, try again. Try again and trust God. The Bible talks about how children are a reward. They are a gift from God.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
Right? And so, like, don't allow that situation, although hurtful, although traumatic, don't allow that to dictate to you not trying again, and don't allow that to keep you from trusting God.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, because he's still the same God.
Yes.
So you kind of talked about that earlier. Like, he was the same God before the stillbirth, during, and you realized that you needed him to be
God after.
his big G. Like, I need you to do your big G work.
His big one.
His big
right.
one.
His big one.
Yes.
Yeah.
For real.
Yeah. And so just if you guys can, like, just talk for a moment before we get out of here. Like, what would you say to that couple that's in the middle of this storm right now, that's listening to this episode? Because we believe that, every episode that we do, we believe that it's orchestrated by God. And so I believe that someone is listening right now that's in the midst of this storm. And so you all just take a moment and just speak to that couple, that marriage, that sex life. Speak to that parent who does not want anything to do with the kids right now because y'all getting on my nerves, and this, that, and the other. Like just speak to that home.
Yeah.
Okay. As you say, keep it juicy, as always.
Right.
Keep it juicy.
Keep the communication open. Keep everything going. You know, although you are experiencing this, just keep everything going. You know, if anything, come closer together.
Yeah.
You know, just build that communication. Allow those emotions to flow as they should. And look at me talking. But yeah, let them go as they should. I mean, seek therapy if you need to seek therapy, because I mean it does help. And I'm always one to say I'm not gonna tell nobody about my problems, but it does help to talk about them. But seek the therapy. I mean, do all the things that everyone is telling you that you should be doing or you need to be doing, because it does help. As far as the kids go, I mean, I take my kids and I bring them closer, you know, and I just love them a little closer. I mean, how I was before this happened and how I am now, I don't think there's anything different. I mean, I still throw Kobe all over the bed. I still hang Jordan upside down, you know, just all of the above. So just keep the community going. Keep whatever was going on before, keep it going, if not better, afterwards.
Yeah, and I would say don't pull away from each other, because you know you can play the blame game, and that can just destroy your marriage. Hey, you've lost a baby, now you lost your marriage. I don't think that it's just worth it. I feel like over communicate. I'm an over communicator. Get the feelings out, put them on the table, talk to people who have been in similar situations. I have a lot of moms who has been in that situation, or who are trying to have babies, and ask for, advice, and trust God, just no matter how it looks, because he is a promise keeper. And I know that without a shadow of a doubt, he's a promise keeper. If he said it, he'll do it.
Yeah.
Like, we are living witnesses. Yeah. Yes. Even though this happened, he's shown up time and time again for us. So I would say communicate. I would say seek therapy for sure, because this is somebody who doesn't know anything about you, and maybe they can help you get through. Mm-hmm. So therapy and God, and I would say your support system, lean into them, because when something traumatic happens, you know who's for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, for sure, like I can say that, and it might be a shame to say, but Right Way showed up for us more than our family.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So not even afterwards, after we buried him and everything. So it's like, lean into your support system.
Yeah.
Allow yourself to be vulnerable. Don't be the strong person all the time. Like, feel what you feel, and don't let it overcome you. Don't let depression win. Like, get up, get out, like, get moving. Like, you have to keep going. You can't stay stuck, because when you're stuck, you have all these thoughts, and that's when the devil attacks. Mm-hmm. So I would say, talk about it.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, man, thank y'all so much.
This has been amazing.
It really has. Yeah. It really has been amazing. Thank y'all so much.
Insightful.
Yeah.
Very, very insightful. And I appreciate y'all's transparency, and your vulnerability, because I know that takes a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. And you made it with no tissue.
I'm so happy. I was praying like...
Yeah, she was like, make sure you got a whole box of tissue. We're going to need it. And didn't use not one.
We didn't even use one.
Come on.
We did good.
Come on. But, man, thank y'all so much for being willing to just share, man. And so I trust that your story is going to resonate with someone. Again, this is God's podcast, and so he knows what he was doing when he laid this episode on our heart, and whenever he laid you guys on our heart to talk about it. And so he knows. And so I'm sure somebody is watching and listening. They needed to hear this.
Yeah.
They needed to know that, hey man, there's still hope. Mm-hmm. Because some marriages don't make it after miscarriages and stillbirth. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, some marriages don't make it. Some couples, they can't come out of playing the blame game.
Right. Yeah.
And so now it's the blame game that just continues to pull them further and further apart. Before you know it, it's like, you know what? I'm gone.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so the fact that you guys are stronger now, closer together, life is still going on. Like that's just amazing.
Yeah.
That's just amazing, right? And so, y'all, that's it. That's the show. So listen to our listening audience, man. Thank y'all so much for rocking with us. We pray that this episode will help you. And so I just pray that you find that peace to that couple, that you find that joy, that you find that strength, that you find that community that they were talking about. You need community. And don't allow these situations to cause you to do life alone.
Yeah.
Get closer to your family, get closer to your friends, and allow them to take this journey with you if you are facing this. And so we love you. Don't forget to subscribe. Share this because people around the world need to hear and know that God is still God, even in the midst of situations like this. Even in the midst of storms, he still sits on the throne, and he is still faithful, and he is still committed to you and committed to the institution of marriage. And so we love you. We'll see you next week, same time. Have an amazing evening, and we'll see you guys later. Peace.